Honestly, to me, it's a really, really rewarding field. Just because you get to see people not only using your work, but you get to see them using it in a way that makes their life easier, assuming you've done your job right. But I came to this from IT as a system admin and who just happens to be doing Jira on the side, and people like, we'll pay you more for that. And I think that's something we should get into. Atlassian actually just released some statistics showing that on average, again, averages are what they are. There's going to be half that are lower, half that are higher. But on average in the US, Jira admins are making right around 100K per year, which
which is a
is a,
good chunk of change.
yeah.
It's
So,
something I feel being a Jira admin, I like it because 100K, good amount of money, right? But it's the problems are a lot more predictable, right? Like just being a regular IT admin or some sort of systems administrator, you got an infinite amount of problems that you got to be able to solve through here, right? But being with Jira, good solid salary, but also very defined scope, right? Your problem space, your skill set doesn't need to be as broad. It can be very, very specific, very narrow in focus, and just being really, really good at Jira. You don't have to be good at the entire IT stack.
yeah, this is something get into a lot. It's a lot like doctors, where you have general practitioners, your primary care doctors, your family practitioners, but you also have specialists. Jira guys are and gals are the specialists of the IT world, or one of the specialties. There was a time when people became admins because they're responsible for handling the server behind the application, such as I was. Now with the cloud-based apps, where do you get this pull from? And well, Robert, that's half the story of where your admins come from. The
I
other
got a I
half
got a
come
good half.
from, yeah, it comes from project managers and IT or business
Scrum Master.
leaders who, scrum masters, all this, who like, well, someone has to manage Jira. No one else will. I might as well do it. And
That's
I think
usually the
that's,
product
yeah,
owners, right? Product managers, product owners, Scrum Masters. That's project managers. Man, I think I said all those already. But those are usually the folks, right? They're like the only person that kind of is always in the tool. They're always they're having to use it because their company uses Jira for their agile um, methodology there. And then somebody's unfortunate enough to draw the short stick, and they become the Jira administrator because they need to modify this, they need to modify that, and some companies just don't have the luxury of having a full Jira admin. But I think a great audience here would be those kind of folks. Like that's partially why I create half the videos I create over on ApeTech, right? Because so many people do get thrown into the deep end of being a Jira admin. And there's a right
mhm,
way and there's a wrong way to do Jira administration. like
very much so.
like team managed
And
projects. Don't ever use them.
I mean, we both had this experience where we were just thrown in at it. I believe your path was through a Scrum Master, if I remember right.
Yeah.
So you were one of those business leaders who, like, someone has to run Jira. I'm already doing it. Might as well run with this. Um, and said most everyone I've talked to who's been through that have that deep in experience, and it's not fun. And said, I think we said this like our episode one. There are so many more resources now than when me and you started this job.
So many more. I really gotta get that book out of my closet. But my biggest, I think, like, and like the part that makes me a little bit more sad too, and again, the motivation for why I make these videos is I go and check out my competition, like who's making Jira videos and trainings, right? And like it's just like right here, every single time I see somebody else making YouTube videos on team managed projects. I'm like, you are hurting me so much. Or in the title, you're killing me, Smalls, right?
Hmm.
And it just hurts that a video has like 2 million views on like how to do Jira and how to use it incorrectly. So Scrum Master as Jira admin works for Jira software. What about the
Software,
other
yep.
flavors of JSM Jira Product Discovery?
I
Great
mean,
questions. Great
Jira
questions.
product discovery, obviously, those are your project managers.
Product managers.
Mhm.
I've had more
Yeah.
experience with my product owners, my product managers. Your product discovery are going to be the folks that are like David here on the call, right? Where they're they're a lot more geared towards like the voice of the customer, and they're trying to capture requirements, right? They're trying to discover ideas as well, right? Like there's value in not contaminating Jira with every idea that your company may have, because some of them might be killer bangers and other ones are probably just going to be like, we shouldn't have even thought of that. Right. But,
Over half my power users were the PMs who were using in Jira day in and day out, sorting through those. So,
but I think, but Bob brings up a good question here, though, right? But because like, where's the inspiration, right? Like, your product owners are not going to want to become Jira administrators because it's such a different wheelhouse. But then you have folks like David, who's on the call here, right? And he's just like been embracing it. Like he's not in this space, right? Like this is not his calling. Maybe you let me know, David. You let me know in the comment section here. This is your calling. But here's a guy who I get to see quite often just really embrace the craft of being an administrator of Jira, right? Just digging deep. He only cares, primarily cares for having the tool that can help him facilitate him doing his job as a product owner. But then he's in Jira, right? He's in there making automation rules. He's in there changing workflows. He's in there doing all kinds of stuff. And I haven't purchased my robe and shaved my head yet, right? But we got, I think, slowly and surely, as Atlassian branches out, right, we're going to have more people from different diverse backgrounds needing the proper training and needing the proper like path to knowing how to administer and be a good steward of the administration of these tools.
The other side of the coin, Robert does bring up a good point with this, that we do have a shortage of Jira admins right now. That's one reason that the price we're able to charge, and as in our wage, the average wage is going up, is because there's not a lot of us. And there's multiple reasons for that. One of the big reasons is with the server changeover coming less than a year from now, almost
February.
6 months away now. Yeah.
Still, it's like 7, 8.
A lot of service partners have hoovered up a lot of the experienced Jira admins.
Yeah, and you need them, folks, right? Like I've been working with a couple of teams where it's just like they didn't call Dr. Jira, they didn't call the Jira guy, and now they're paying a price because now they gotta clean up. When you don't know how to be a Jira admin, right? Like you can get by with tutorials, you can get by with watching videos, reading blog posts and stuff, right? But Jira is an art. Like I like to tell people, right? Like there is no silver bullet for any path for anything that you want to do in Jira. You and I could be presented with the exact same problem, and we'd probably arrive at completely different solutions. We'd arrive still at the same location, but we would have taken completely different paths to get there. And I think that's what makes Jira really, really interesting and like a gift and a curse, because you're gonna get administrators that are kind of like, barely hanging on there and just getting by. And then you're gonna have the Jira admins that are more experienced, right? You're gonna have the ones that have like all the scars and all the burn marks that are like, we've made those mistakes, we've made this field required, we've made like all the Jira fails that we talked about a couple episodes ago, where you're gonna have folks like in that caliber that are gonna be doing those mistakes for the first time in their career. And I think that's gonna hurt a lot of companies too, though. As Atlassian keeps spreading the love of like the capabilities of what Jira and the Jira brand can do, right? Through work management, through product discovery, through things like Compass and Atlas, right? More and more companies that are non-traditional software engineering are gonna be using Jira, because honestly, like I still look at a lot of the competition and I just don't see it. Like I Monday just doesn't persuade me enough to go use it. Asana doesn't, it's like it's just not doing it for me. And so I think a lot of companies are just going to now experience the fact that, ooh, there's this Jira thing. It can help us with this problem. And oh boy, it could do a whole lot more. And then they start experimenting. And that's when there's going to be a lot of demand for these Jira admins.